In unraveling Lillian Ward's murder, we encounter a tapestry of shadows. Dr. Janet Tully, a historian specializing in rural crimes, what makes Willow Creek's case so noteworthy?
Willow Creek represents a microcosm of post-war America where community was both supportive and stifling. In 1948, towns like these battled isolation and a post-war identity crisis, amplifying suspicion.
Indeed, but some argue that such close-knit communities offer clarity. Are we underestimating how quickly they grasp each other's secrets and virtues?
That's a fair point. However, the intimacy can cloud judgments. Case in point, the assumption villagers made about Elliot due to his persistent land requests rather than tangible evidence.
Looking forward, how can such communities ensure that justice and truth prevail, especially with limited resources?
Establishing unbiased investigative bodies and encouraging community dialogue could be key. Furthermore, sharing resources with neighboring regions could prevent insular decision-making.
Moving to Elliot Grayson's trial, the evidence was primarily circumstantial. Professor Michael Levin, a criminology expert, what constitutes compelling evidence in such cases?
Compelling evidence should be corroborative, affirming beyond reasonable doubt. Many murder cases falter when evidence like fingerprints or DNA is missing, which was unsurprisingly absent here due to era constraints.
That certainly aligns with the prosecutorial challenges of the late 1940s. But what fuels our modern reliance on circumstantial evidence in prolonged cases?
Human psychology favors narrative over hard fact. Stories resonate, and in cases like Grayson's, the narrative focused more on his supposed motives than conclusive proof.
What measures could, or should, contemporary societies adopt to mitigate such bias in small-town environments?
Investment in forensic education, even in rural units with regular workshops, could spare future injustices, inviting fresh perspectives on the definition of evidence within communal boundaries.
Transitioning now, what is the lasting impact Lillian's murder has on Willow Creek and similar communities, Professor Sylvia Kemp?
Murder paints indelible stains on towns like Willow Creek. Suspicion lingers, often compounded by tales like ghostly echoes of Lillian's cries reinforcing unease.
True, but do these stories serve any therapeutic, protective function for residents, or are they purely detrimental?
They can deter potential confessions by perpetuating fear. Yet, paradoxically, they maintain vigilance, a constant reminder of the cost of silence or overlooked injustices.
Intriguingly, what can communities learn from these narratives to potentially prevent repeating history?
Acknowledging and responsibly preserving these narratives could foster resilience. By owning their past, communities can navigate their futures with insight rather than trepidation.
In our final segment, let's discuss open cases. Detective Robert Hale, your career has spanned rural and urban settings. Is it possible Willow Creek forced a resolution at Grayson's expense?
Absolutely. In isolated areas, a swift resolution quells collective anxiety. The pressure to restore equilibrium can, unfortunately, lead to oversights or rushed judgments.
However, some argue that reopening such investigations might merely dig up past wounds. What's your stance?
It's about balance. Reopen strategically only if new evidence emerges. Conversely, periodic reviews can ensure past errors aren't perpetuated in new cases.
As we look forward, how should towns negotiate the balance between preserving their peace and pursuing unresolved truths?
Transparent dialogue and community inclusion in legal processes may bridge these divides. Encouraging a culture of openness dismantles fear, potentially facilitating healing and